Okay, would you tell me your name and when you were born?
Reverend Fredrick Williams, born August the 4th, 1933 in Warren, Ohio.
And who else has that birthday on August the 4th?
The president followed me,
And
he
which
is
president?
Obama.
Okay, all right. So you were born in Warren, Ohio.
Yes.
And so tell me about your parents and tell me about your grandparents if you remember them.
Okay, my grandparents came here from Paducah and Mayfield, Kentucky years ago. In fact, when they got here, they were instrumental in helping to form Second Baptist Church. So my mother, Freddie Lee Williams, was the first child in Sunday school for Second Baptist. My father was born in Chicago, Illinois, and he came here from Chicago. My grandmother on that side, Rose Cambridge. She was a pioneer, just put it like that. She lived off the land. She was a farmer and from East Texas.
Okay, and so what do you remember about her being a pioneer? What made her a pioneer?
Okay, she built her own houses. She lived on the west side of Warren. Actually, she owned the land where the 45 drive-in was. And she had cows and pigs and everything else. And we used to love to go out there because the animals. But she didn't take anything from anybody. I just put it like that.
And you're saying this was your grandmother?
Yes, on my father's side.
But you said she was born in Texas?
Yes, East Texas.
Okay, and how did she end up in Ohio?
She married Tyler W. Williams, who was living here at the time, and he moved to Chicago. In fact, he was one of the first engineers in Providence Hospital in Chicago. But he went on and furthered his education. She didn't like education too much, I'll just put it like that.
And why?
Because she was born off the land and she figured she'd do her own thing.
All right. Okay, and so now tell me about your parents.
My parents, Fred and Freddie Lee Williams, young couple when they got married. Dad worked at the steel mill, Republic Steel. In fact, we lived down in the flats. Most black people did live in the flats at that time.
And would you describe the flats?
The flats we had our own restaurants. We had our own dry cleaners, Johnson's Dry Cleaners. Bert Johnson is the son of Bert Johnson Sr., who had the first black laundry in Warren. But it was black, I just put it like that. We went to school elementary at First Street, and one of the first things that I learned was how to say hello in Croatian, because that's who was down there with us. We'd say Yakshima, Dobre, Dobre, and that's how you said hello in Croatian.
So who taught you that, the teachers or the neighborhood?
The neighborhood. We lived on, I was born on, I'll have to describe it. It was alley between Fulton Street and Wolf Court. It was called, I can't think of the name of it, but Beaver Alley, because we lived in the Beaver Apartments where I was born.
And so at the time, was that an integrated apartment complex or was it just black people?
No, it was all black.
Okay.
All black. In fact, the flats were black. In fact, I was one of the first black Boy Scouts. It was a place called Urban League down there, cat a corner from the church, Second Baptist, and the director was Mr. Smalls, and we had a black troop of Boy Scouts. Our first scoutmaster was Lemuel Young, and he would taught us all he knew. And then there was a young kid. He was his assistant.
Oh, okay. So you all had an all-black Boy Scout troop.
Yes, we did. The only one in Trumbull County.
Mm-hmm.
And we felt very proud to march in parades, and our family would come from the flats up to Market Street to watch us march. Then they go back down to the flats.
So this probably was the first black Boy Scout troop in the city of Warren, correct?
Oh yes. Troop 17.
Okay, so back to your parents. Were your parents born in Warren, Ohio?
No, my mother was born in Kentucky, Paducah, Mayfield, Kentucky.
Okay.
And then my father was born out west in Texas.
Okay, so how in the world did they end up in Warren, Ohio?
The mill
Okay.
was hiring. They would take trains and buses and everything and go around and search for people to work in the mill, and they would bring them up, and that's how they got adjusted here in Warren.
I see. Okay, so you told me your elementary school was at First Street, but tell me about your siblings, your brothers and sisters.
Okay, my brother, they used to call him Dodo. His name was Douglas Lee Williams, and he excuse me, he was very ambitious. He ended up being a policeman here in Warren. I was a deputy sheriff when he was a policeman. We had some pictures taken. They've been lost over the years, though. But he was in his uniform, and I was in mine. And we, he ended up being a judge up in Jackson, Michigan. My sister Jeannie, Sandra Jean Williams, she was a good student, I'll just put it like that. Very, very ambitious about going to school. She ended up being in working for Packet Electric, but she was ended up being a psychiatrist, and she lives in Liberty now. My other sister Brenda, she was a good artist. Her and Professor Bright couldn't sit tables and couldn't sit chairs, and she ended up going to Cincinnati, and she worked for, I can't think who she worked for, but she was like a designer for windows, J.C. Penney's. And then there was Carol, that was the baby, and she is not too long ago left us and went on to heaven. but she was married to Otis Yancey, and their children thrived in Warren.
Oh, okay. So you do come from a very esteemed and highly respected family, very well educated. Who motivated you all to be ambitious?
My mother.
Okay. And so what were some of the things that she would tell you all to motivate you to be your best?
Go to school, I'll whip your butt. How about that?
All right. Okay.
But she always wanted to further her education, but with 5 kids, she wasn't able to.
Mm-hmm.
At that time, they do it now.
Right.
But at that time, she wasn't able to further her education.
All right.
Yeah, we lived in the Benton Homes, where I met the Saffold family.
That's right.
Yep.
What street did you live on in the Benton Homes?
Middle Court.
All right.
Yep. And then when I got married, I lived on Cloverdale.
Okay.